Welcome to our podcast today. Today is a special episode from our podcast. This podcast, as you know, this is the place that we have all the industry leader in the asset integrity, asset management, and the reliability. This is our world, as you know. And today we have a distinguished uh, uh, person, which is Mr. Klein May. Klein May, as you know, this is chairman of ASNT from USA, and this is our episode today. I hope to be enjoyable for you and get a lot of knowledge from distinguished person, which is Klein May. Welcome, Klein May.
Thank you very much for having me.
Everything is good?
Everything is good. Very good conference first day.
Yeah, thank you very much. As you know, the challenges that we have in our market, especially you are on a very higher level now in the position of ASNT. So what do you see the challenges in the integrity field in our harsh industry like oil and gas, petrochemicals, energy? So first of all, I need you to just clarify the challenge that you face as an ASNT and also as an expert in our field, which is asset integrity, by the way.
So probably the biggest challenge we face in any of the NDT markets, whether it be oil and gas, aviation, is just attracting new people into the industry. As you know, there's workforce challenges all around the world in every skilled trade and profession, and certainly NDT not being at the forefront of people's knowledge of a job or a career. So we have to work extra hard to try to let everyone know that there's a great career in NDT, and just that we exist, what we are, who we are, what we do, and what we do is very important. So that's probably our biggest challenge.
Especially for our industries, as you know, this is the 1 hour shutdown. It's mean a lot. It's mean a lot for financially, and also for the integrity of our assets to continue their journey to produce the products finally. That's it.
It's certainly a challenge, and the old saying, time is money, but it's also, I think, certainly ASNT's mission is creating a safer world by advancing NDT. But I think, again, it's one of those things where the career path is excellent. It is one of those careers that can bring you a lot of satisfaction, because it is. People don't realize how much NDT touches the average person on a daily life. Every time you get in your car, you drive down the highway, you cross a bridge, you get on an airplane. You don't see the NDT in the background, but trust me, it's there. And if it wasn't there,
I think this is
we would all know.
For all of the industry that you mentioned now in
absolutely
aviation and other like oil and gas industry, which is already bring this for that industry or those industry. That's it.
No one knows we're here, but those 300 people that got on the airplane this morning are very glad that we were there, because they're going to get where they were going and get off the airplane. So, like I said, it's that's the first and biggest challenge that we have, is the industry is still growing, and the oil and gas industry is probably the most rapidly growing sector of the NDT industry, particularly in the in-service NDT methods and techniques, which are the newest innovation. They're the most exciting. That's where new technology is able to be adopted at a much more rapid pace than in maybe some of the traditional venues such as construction, manufacturing, fabrication. Those are tied to regulatory requirements and codes and standards, which are much slower to adopt innovation and technology, just because there's so much oversight and levels of rigor that are involved that are not necessarily present in service oil and gas particularly. So I think
it's mean a lot.
It is, and
Yeah.
you know,
From the money perspective, I mean.
it is one of those things where, you know, certainly at ASNT, you know, we're a training certification body. We try to connect people in the industry with stakeholders. We try to bring venues to the people to understand what we do, whether it be through conferences, trade shows. So, you know, advocating for NDT is certainly at the top of our list.
Yeah.
But you know, one of the things that, you know, the very first personnel qualification certification program that the industry had came from ASNT, but that was in 1966, and it's changed very little since 1966.
Yeah.
So, how do we now adapt this next generation of NDT professionals to those innovations and new technologies, whether it be you know, the use of artificial intelligence, machine learning.
That's it.
That's the buzzword of the industry.
That's our next question, by the way, about the AI. You know, we already have a side discussion from يعني a little bit. We talk about the AI usage, implementation. Is it a tool? Is it a mandate in the, you know, in the next future? What do you see this not as a technology? I need your opinion as a leader in this industry. Are you see the AI is to not replacing, but at least take a part of our market, especially in integrity or asset management, instead of hands-on experience to be focusing about. If I'm talking about AI, is it, you know, as a meaning of replacement? Are you seeing this as a replacement way? This is the first point. Second point, the AI also, and the relation between AI and the ASNT is very, very important for us. Do you have some steps forward using some AIs in your next level of ASNT as a chairman of that association?
So certainly, you know, we have ASNT is one of the first, if not the first, actual standard for the development of AI algorithms and applications. It has been through, and again, it's an ANSI standard, so it has to go through a public comment.
Yeah.
It has been through public comment. Obviously, there were
From
many.
a long time, or just only 2025?
2025. So it went through public comment, closed maybe a month ago. Many comments.
Very good.
So the committee that is handling
You have
the
technical
standard
advisor, consultants, something like this?
has
from
to go-
ASNT
they're
and
going-
the other
Yep.
committee, which is already related to the ASNT
Yep.
organizations?
They have to go through and address all those comments and
Very
see if,
Amazing.
you know, if anything needs to be changed, but at least they have to be addressed. So we were hoping that it would be published before the end of the calendar year, because of the number of comments and the time it will take to work through the comments.
Yeah.
I'm not sure we'll make it before the end of calendar year. So hopefully first quarter of 2026, that standard will be published. And it's not, certainly it's not an all-encompassing standard. It was really the first step in setting the process in motion. Next, we would get into what are the qualifications of people, of the NDE people, that would validate ground truth data,
Yeah.
that would validate the outputs. Can't be the same people, right? We can't use the same.
Because
So
sometimes the data which is delivered from this AI software, it's not reliable enough to take a right decision, by the way, in sometimes.
perfect example is standardized data formats. You know, that's one of the ASNT is currently in the process of putting the final touches on our next strategic plan, which is, we're calling it Vision 2035. It's a 10-year look out. One of the, when we were sitting down and we have a strategic management committee, we used the entire board this year or for this plan.
Yeah.
But we literally tried to identify what we called mega issues. What are the challenges? What are the barriers? What are the roadblocks?
Great.
And
You're setting a roadmap for that, right?
yeah, to basically how do we bring not only AI, but certainly AI is at the front of the discussion, but any innovation or new technology. But one of the things we realized that in our quest for digital data, we can't have without the digital data, we don't have anything to train the AI models on, right?
Yeah,
so we have multimodalities. We have radiography, we have ultrasonics, we have visual, we have eddy current. We have lots of forms of digital data.
So integrated technology.
But they are not on any standardized format. So yeah, one of the things that we're certainly promoting is that manufacturers of equipment at least investigate the HDF5.
What do you mean about format here? Yeah, you mentioned something very important now. Is to using some technology for some, let's say, for our technical language, which is something like failure mechanisms or something like this. So now you need to just produce as a long-term plan, as you mentioned now, for the next 10 years. So you will mention some technologies for some specific failure mechanism or something like this. This is what you mean about this point, or?
Yes.
Yeah.
So again, we use, and again, we're trying to in the oil and gas sector, as particularly, we have assets where how long can we don't want to run to fail, right? We want to run very near failure, but not to fail.
Yeah, to extend the life.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So we perform multiple types of NDT on that same vessel, that asset.
Yeah.
We do radiography in digital format. We do ultrasonics, multiple forms of ultrasonics.
Sure.
We do eddy current. We do remote visual. We have all of this digital data, but it all sits in individual siloed databases that do not communicate with each other.
Yeah.
But it's the same asset. So how do we
integrated to take a right decision for that asset?
So how do we help the industry find their way to common language, common file structure, common data structures that can be integrated into a single database that the AI can learn and pull from, right? So all of these things have to be recognized before we can address them. So, to say that we are well on our way, I'm not sure, because it seems like at every time we turn a corner and think we're on the home stretch, we find a new corner to turn.
Yeah,
so, but we're making progress, and I think that's certainly more than we can say.
Something like asset performance management system to control the asset next life, if I'm saying by right way, to extend as much as you can the life of the assets.
Yes.
Yeah, without any interruption for the turnarounds in oil and gas especially, or even refinery. So you are now take a lot of data from a lot of direction. Let's say something like 360-degree, information around the assets to get the right insights by the right technology, or even multiple technology to get the right insight and the right decision on the time. That's it. I think you are going for that. Yeah,
yes,
right?
we are. So, and again,
Yeah.
when someone uses the term AI or machine learning,
Yeah.
they're casting a very large net, right? We as an industry have not learned to try to be more specific in the use cases that we're talking about. So we really have to be careful that we don't overuse the term. I think we need to be more specific in how we use terminology. And it's a learning process. Change doesn't come rapidly in many areas, but I think that we are, again, we're making progress. We are certainly aware that change is necessary, and even if if kind of in addition to the term artificial intelligence, one of the things, particularly in the NDT field, that we have got to address
Yeah.
is again, I mentioned it earlier, is workforce shortages, bringing new people in, and we are wherever we are today, as far as available workforce, it's as good as we're ever going to be.
Yeah.
If you look at the statistics, you will absolutely see that birth rates are declining globally. The number of people graduating high school, college is diminishing every year. So the available numbers new numbers coming into the workforce, particularly and then the small part that would be available to the NDT world,
Yes.
it's not even able to keep up with the attrition of folks like me that are near the end of our journey,
Yes.
right, in NDT. So we're not able to keep up with the number of people that we're losing, needless to say, bringing in the new additional people. So we're going to have to rely on smart software, artificial intelligence,
Yeah.
to bridge the gap,
Machine learning also.
to bridge the gap in we're literally going to have to learn to perform more NDT with fewer people. And the only way to do that is we got to have, something's got to help us.
Point.
Okay.
To be honest, you talking or touched the pain, which is a competence management in our organization.
Yeah.
The competence all the time is a change for
Yes.
me, especially because I'm coming from the side, by the way. So all the time we see this point is very crucial. We have some technology on the top, advanced technologies, but in sometimes the competence that you have, you cannot withstand, you cannot, deliver the value from this technology. Even you have AI, you have some devices to get the failure early and something like this, but they cannot translate what they see on the assets, what the asset try to say for them, This is by other language. So you touch the pain by the competence. That's why I think S&T is having the, a very good steps toward the certification, to be honest. So this is a very good opportunity to talk about the, this point, which is a crucial point.
Yeah.
We're talking about the technology, but definitely it's used by, by the humans. So
Yep.
what do you see about this point, the competency and the S&T role, for bridging the gap, as you expressed?
So competency is certainly that's a very appropriate term and topic that you just used.
Yeah.
So, historically, NDT, competency has been developed through a time-based system.
That's what I mentioned.
And it's a tiered system, level 1, level 2, level 3. It's certainly neither the time-based nor that stepping stone approach actually solves the problems, particularly in the in-service verticals or the run and maintain, oil and gas, petrochemical, anything where you're trying to extend asset life, rather than it's becoming more and more task-based.
Yeah.
So we need more task-based competency measuring tools and development tools. I think what you will see, and again, it's certainly, I think it fits the AI ML discussion, is what is the next generation of training? Certainly, I don't believe it's going to be, we need to move away from this time-based and more of a performance task-based model, but we're going to have to figure out how to also incorporate things like augmented reality, virtual reality, not only into the training, but into the experience as a replacement for
I think you have
this
now,
time-based.
right?
Sorry?
You have this now, this technology in the training, by the way.
It's in the early stages, but we have to be able to scale it, right?
Yeah.
It's
to spread more and more.
It is, because the scale of whatever we're doing to try to bridge those gaps, it has to be scalable and it has to be global, right? It has to be able to be portable enough that it's not geographically restricted or culturally restricted, right? So I think
Yes.
it's so things like AR and VR are certainly being used today, particularly even like in nuclear power. You know, it's used for scenario modeling because you can't go running into a running nuclear reactor with a high radiation area. Same way with petrochemical in very hazardous environments. You know, training is done in a virtual environment.
Yeah.
And it works. We know that it works.
That's it.
So these are the things that certainly at AS&T we're aware of, that we have to get out of our comfort zone. We have to get out of the box that we've built for 60 years
change, yes.
and be uncomfortable and change.
Yeah.
So whether it's a combination of machine learning and versions of AI, smart software tools, new training adventures, but the generations today are certainly they're ready. That's their reality to begin with, right? It's not really augmented reality.
Yeah, but we have a very big challenge between the new generation that you mentioned now, which is already able to make a change, to change everything around, like as you mentioned now, the training, augmented reality or something like this. By using this for the training and having the gap, and skipping this gap, by the way, fulfilling this gap, between the new generation, which is already very, very, very active and motivated and something like this. But if we're gonna for another side, which is the decision maker in a lot of organizations, to be honest, there is a very, very big resistance from the shop floor level. So what's your point of view about, what did you see this, to make a balance between the, let's say, change resist? As you mentioned now, there is a comfort zone, so it's not easy to go out from. That's why you need to mention about that, because we need your experience about that. Why? Because I think you saw a lot of resist for the change, because you are the organization that making and lead the change all over the world. So that's why I'm asking the right person from my point of view, by the way, in this point. So that's why I need to learn from you about this.
So obviously, I'm also very involved in standards writing in other organizations. And it really, it is transparency, it is engagement, and it is, so we have to get out of this, this habit of kind of siloing ourselves off into our own little worlds, right? Whether it be in a codes or standard, or in personnel qualification and certification, whatever we're doing, we have to understand that none of it matters if we don't engage and bring the stakeholders along with us. And the only way that happens is through honest dialogue, right? We have to be in front of those decision makers. We have to be in front of those regulators. We have to be in front of all of the, again, for lack of a better word, stakeholders, making sure they understand what the problem is. And there is a problem.
What we will face in the future if we don't take
But the only way we can solve it is together, right? We can come up with great solutions, but if we do it in a vacuum without bringing them along, and not after it's done, it's never a good scenario when you say, look what we did. It's much better to say, what can we do? And work together through it.
To cooperate together in the
collaboration is the key here.
In the future, by the way.
In the NDT side, that is not just AS&T, right? That is all of the NDT societies, which there are a number of them around the world. Certainly AS&T is probably more global than most national societies. We do have members and have involvement pretty much around the world.
That's
So
why you talk, I think, from all the nationalities' point of view now,
Yeah.
because you already see what the culture can resist, what the culture can boost also,
Yes.
boost the change. By the way, in some cultures, they already booster, make it the change as a taking step forward to and implement the newest technology in their industry to try and to take a lesson learned from that to apply that in their industry. That's it. So I think you have a lot of experience on that. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's why your valuable insights is very,
and-
very appreciated now.
and again, I think certainly there are segments of the industry that are more open. The in-service mechanical integrity world. It's really about how much risk are you willing to take, and it's not codes and standards driven. So you have the ability to adopt on a much more quicker pace, rapid pace, and I think that's the key. Is once it starts, then it's much easier to move. Getting it started, getting that adoption, getting that, it's kind of like the first 10 yards are the hardest, and then the remaining of the field, it gets a lot easier. So, but again, I think certainly we don't want to say we're focusing on a single industry or a single segment, but we need somebody to lead the charge from an adoption standpoint. And again, I think certainly in the mechanical integrity world, oil and gas, petrochemical is a great place to try to get those first wins. Right, the more wins we get, the easier it becomes to adopt.
Finally, as a financial, that's why. So it's a very, very important to take care from this point. That's why I'm asking you about the challenges, the implementation of AI, and your role in ASNT and all of that. So I just need to focus about your advice for the two generation now, the generation of decision makers now, which is already old man here in this organization as a top management, and the other one, which is the new generations. So what's your advice for this and that?
First and foremost is don't fall into the old trap of this is the way we've always done it.
Yeah.
We have got to get out of our comfort zones. We've got to get new ideas. We have to be willing to say, and it doesn't mean we're doing anything wrong. It just means change means not that you did anything wrong or are doing anything wrong. It's just the circumstances have changed, and you must change with them. We certainly know that that change is constant. We haven't changed in quite some time in our industry.
That's what we need, by the way. Yeah.
So now we are behind, right? It's not like we just need to change a little, right? We have to catch up before we're ready to even change to a little bit. So it's a lot of change, and it is difficult. But I think that for my advice for the new generation is be a voice. Yeah, be engaged.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to be heard. It's one thing to say to know something is wrong or something that needs to be changed. Not wrong. Something needs changed. But if you don't speak up and you don't try to change it, So my best advice for the next generation or the up and coming is to truly be an advocate for change. Don't just say, hey, we need to change. Get involved. Do something about it. Be a voice. And from the other side, the people that have to adopt or be willing to change, it's the same thing. Look around. The world is moving at a faster pace than it ever has. If we don't keep up, we get left behind, right? So, one of my questions this morning in the little panel discussion was asked, how do service companies not become obsolete? Well, before we become obsolete, we actually become outdated, we're in the outdated
very difficult
we're in the
time to
outdated
change.
scenario right now.
Yeah.
So we have to realize that, and the not only the industry, but both sides of the fence, the people providing NDE and the end users, the regulatory agencies.
Yeah.
They have to. We have to educate them that, hey, we are outdated.
Yeah.
We don't want to be obsolete for sure.
Yeah.
So
Take a step forward. Yeah.
let's get busy and affect change that's meaningful, not for the sake of change, but for the sake of it's not, I won't say survival, but we don't want to be obsolete. So we want a workforce. We want planes to continue to stay in the sky. We want bridges to still stand.
That's it. Yes. Yes.
So let's make sure we create the paths, we create the opportunities.
The healthy conversation between them.
Yeah.
The healthy environment to get the, as you mentioned before, transparency and also engagement. You use these keywords because
those.
I like these words, by the way, because I know the value for that word.
So yeah, we have to be a voice so that we can actually activate change, right? It's one thing to create tools and innovation and have innovation, but if you don't take the steps to actually activate it, it's wasted, right? We wasted the opportunity.
That's it. Yes. Yes. Thank you very, very much for this valuable interview with you.
Appreciate the time.
For me, it's an honor to make this interview with you. Really appreciate your time, appreciate your valuable knowledge that you already say today for a lot of generations, by the way, the challenges in our market, especially in NDT technologies and how you can implement that. I'm really thank you. Thank you very much for this.
Thank you. Thank you for the time. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.